Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Good morning and welcome into Wolo and Friends. I am Landon Schmidt filling in for Wolo, nor am I the voice of the Tigers. That's all Dave's thing. Dave will be back with us tomorrow. He's coming back tomorrow and he'll be with us. My good friend and producer Darian has arrived right on time. There was his cue. He is here. He's going to be jamming out with us today for Wolo and Friends. But I guess since it is my last day before Dave returns, we can give Landon and Friends one more run before we officially hand the keys back over to Dave. He has been dearly missed, and he'll be back with us tomorrow. But last night, MLB in the postseason is still getting red hot as we get ever so closer to the World Series. It's right around the corner. Hard to believe that it's already almost here, and it's even harder to believe that not one, but both of these series have teams that are just 2 wins away from making it to the World Series. Last night, the Dodgers handled business against the Brewers to go up 2-0 in that game. But in that game, it would be the Brewers that would start the party, getting Jackson Chourio. Gotta love that last name. It makes you hungry every time you hear it. In the bottom of the first, he takes his first pitch all the way into deep right that put Milwaukee up early 1-0. And this was a very interesting stat line I read about his leadoff home run in the game. Not only did Jackson Chourio become the second youngest player in MLB history to hit a walk-off home run for the Brewers, but he was already the first youngest to do so. In 2024, he was 20 years old, 205 days when he had a leadoff home run. And then last night, he was 21 years old and 217 days. He now holds the record for being the youngest and second youngest, and if I guess he were to do this again next year, he would be the third youngest as well. I don't know. An impressive stat line for this guy to go forward. And I actually wanted to open up the Sissy's Log Cabin text and listener line because life's too short for ordinary jewelry. 901-360-8255 without just straight up looking up his birth date. By the statistics that I gave, that he was 20 years, 205 days in 2024 when he set the youngest leadoff home run record, and last night, being 21 years of age, 217 years old, could you possibly tell me when his birthday is? It will be interesting, and I don't know, since I'm just a guy who fills in, if I can give you anything. I don't know if I have the power to do any kind of giveaways, or I know.
I mean, shoot, yeah, you can give away your own money.
Well, I need that. It's not like the morning show with Humdinger's Trivia. It's not like any of the Sissy's Log Cabin tickets that they give us. I don't have any of those, but hey, maybe if I see you, I'll give you a
what about an experience? What about a dinner with Landon? You know.
Well, you know, if you like Abner's or Chick-fil-A, we could...
No, Los Cabos.
Well, okay. Sure, we'll go to Los Cabos. So Johnny will take you. I'll make Johnny take you to Los Cabos. How about that? But a very interesting stat line for Jackson Chourio. Unfortunately for the Brewers, that would be their only score of the night. The Dodgers would quickly respond in the top of the second, where Teoscar Hernandez hit a high fly ball into left field in the bleachers to get the game tied up. And this was Hernandez's 4th postseason home run, who he now only trails Davey Lopez, who had 5 in 1978. And this is talking about just one playoff run, not total, because we saw later on in that game, Mike Muncy officially hit the record with 14 career for the Dodgers. But it was Davey Lopez in 1978 and Corey Seager, who he's going to come up again when we talk about the 14th home run that Mike Muncy hit, who had 8 in 2020. The top of the second still had a point left on the table for the Dodgers as Andy Pages gets an RBI double, sending home Kike Hernandez, putting the Dodgers up 2-1. Fast forward to the top of the fourth. Andrew Vaughn, he made an incredible leaping snag right off the bat of Mike Muncy. Max Muncy, right, yes. I even had that written down. I feel like I said Mike Muncy a little bit earlier. I'm not entirely sure if I did or not. But this was before Max Muncy would make history. But now, going forward, Max Muncy, after this incredible play and after some other great defense from both sides of the ball, he gets himself a home run deep into center field, just like the beloved song from John Fogerty, except in that song, he wanted to play center field, not exactly hit a ball out into center field. But not to downplay the importance of Max Muncy getting that home run, as now he broke what was a three-way tie between Corey Seager and Justin Turner. He now holds the record for most postseason home runs in franchise history. Then at the top of the seventh, Shohei Ohtani wanted to join in on the fun, getting a little bit of the scoring action. But you know what I love about Shohei so much is he's such a team player that he decided that I'm not going to hit a home run. I'm going to hit an RBI single so that we can send Kike Hernandez home to score. You got to love his attitude. You got to love how he just goes out there. He says, you know what? I'm going to put the team first, get an RBI single, and run home one of our players. Then to the top of the eighth, where the Dodgers continued their string of 3 consecutive innings where they would score a run. Tommy Edman got in on the action with an RBI single himself, and he hit his ball almost the exact same spot that Shohei hit his RBI single, right past the first baseman, who Andrew Vaughn made a great play earlier in the night, but was a little slow to react against the ball flying off the bat right next to him to close out the score at 5-1. And it would have been a lot worse if the Brewers did not make the 5-4-3 double play while bases were loaded in the eighth. Could have been a lot worse of a score, but Brewers, I guess with some dignity, left on the field, left it at just 5-1. And a quick shout out before we move on. Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitched 9 innings last night, which was the first complete playoff game that has been pitched in 8 years, only allowing 3 hits and 7 strikeouts, including one in the bottom of the 8th against Isaac Collins. Dodgers looked really, really good last night, and now both of these series are up 2-0.
Yeah, those 7 strikeouts cost me a couple coins. I had everything going my way from a betting standpoint. I had the under 7.5. The starting pitcher for the Brewers, I had under 5.5 strikeouts. Silly me not to think Yamamoto would get at least 6.
Well, if you had bet on...
all I needed was the over. He had 5.5.
If you bet on Freddie Peralta with that same number, he had 4.
Yeah, Peralta. That was my other starter. Yeah, so I bet both for the under. I thought it would be a pitcher's duel, which it kind of sort of was, but
well, it was. But the Brewers also put out, what was it, 5 more guys?
Yeah, after Peralta, you saw your rebate come in, and then the wheels just fell off.
They did, but good game last night. We're going to continue with that action tonight as the Blue Jays travel back to Seattle. Seattle looking for that first World Series appearance, and up 2-0 against the Blue Jays. It's looking like it could become a reality. Now, before we get to our friend Dennis, I know everyone's listening. I know, Darian, you have just been clamoring ever since you got here. You wanted to know, how did Tuesday night college football pan out last night? Because it was such a great slate of games. Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We had 2 Conference USA teams. We had a Sun Belt Conference matchup last night.
You obviously channeled your inner Brian Dacus.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, it's college football. We're hitting a strand right now, or what is it, 49 straight days of football? I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. First up, we had New Mexico State. They traveled over to Liberty, where Liberty actually scored a touchdown deep into the 4th quarter to win them the game after New Mexico State missed a field goal to tie it up. They take the game 30-27. Arkansas State then travels to South Alabama, which I just gotta love that the University of South Alabama has the same letters as the United States of America. So could this potentially be America's team? USA, absolutely. So move over Dallas Cowboys, or as Darren and I like to call them, the Alice Cowboys, because there's no defense down there. South Alabama basically had this entire game in the bag, but it was a 12-point comeback in the fourth quarter that allowed Arkansas State to put this game away. And then the final game, Western Kentucky, who was heavy favorites going into this game with only one loss on the season, traveled down to Florida International, where WKU kind of looked lost and gave up 25 points. They lost 25-6 against the Panthers, who are now 3-3. The Hilltoppers are 5-2, 3-1 now in conference play for the Conference USA. We have more college football going on tonight, but as for right now, the times, they are a-changing.
It's time for Dennis on Dave.
Dennis on Dave.
Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
It is now time for Dennis on Dave, or as we coined last week,
Dennis on Landon.
Dennis on Landon again. Good morning to you.
Hey, man, you probably talked about this yesterday, but in game one, the Brewers had an 8-6-2 double play.
Yeah.
That's center fielder to shortstop to catcher. That is so improbable, it was the first time it's ever happened in the postseason.
Wow.
That double play has never happened in the postseason. And the guy the piece I was reading, it happened once in the regular season in 2001, and he couldn't find a single incident of it ever occurring.
Wow.
That's the only two times you've had an 8-6-2 double play.
Well, yesterday, Darian and I focused primarily on Monday Night Football, but that is a really good tidbit.
I love the Brewers manager, Pat Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
He looks to me like a former middleweight, maybe light heavyweight boxer who then spent some time as a mob enforcer.
Right.
Before he decided to be a manager in baseball. And because he genuinely looks like a tough guy. And I was watching his post game yesterday, and I was thinking, in my lifetime, he's about the only baseball manager that I've ever seen that I didn't think I could beat up.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, every baseball
Generally
manager.
speaking,
I
you
think
can see him and say,
I don't
I
think
can
I'd have a
take
lot of trouble with Craig Counsell. I think I could
Yeah.
take him out. I think I could have taken Lasorda.
Maybe I could take him.
I just don't.
Maybe.
They're just never really a guy like Pat
Right.
Murphy who looks like somebody broke his nose.
Right.
That was great. And Blake Snell went 8 innings in the first game.
He did.
And then you got Yamamoto going 9 in the next game.
So what's the expectation
Yeah,
for Tyler
it's gonna have to.
Glasnow?
It's gonna have to go to extra innings somehow. But I don't know,
Yeah,
but
it's
it can't.
gotta at least
it
pitch
can.
10.
I don't know how it can, but that was pretty cool. Also in baseball, Mike Schultz retired as the Padres manager. He took the Padres to the playoffs both years as their manager. And he's decided to hang it up because he cited the huge emotional toll of the job. This is a guy who the entire city of St. Louis wanted him fired when he was the manager of the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The entire city of St. Louis didn't just want him fired, they wanted him fired out of a cannon. I mean, they hated him so much in St. Louis. So I can't imagine how bad the Padres fan base must be. Because granted, at the beginning of the season, we really did think there was a chance that the Dads might win the World Series.
Yeah.
And they get bounced out early. And apparently the Padres fans were so horrible that Schultz retired.
Wow.
He didn't retire. He's 57 years old. He's spent his entire life in baseball. He's going to be a manager somewhere else. But
He'll find something.
this was
else
just
to
the
do.
way of. I mean, what is he going to do? Sit around and watch baseball on TV like us? No, he's going to
No,
take another
that
job.
doesn't seem his alley.
All right, speaking of coaches leaving their jobs, Penn State, of course, fired their head coach James Franklin after 3 straight losses, and this seemed abrupt since historically
Yeah.
Penn State has been reluctant to remove problematic coaches.
Very much so.
But the thing is, Franklin wasn't problematic. A month ago, Penn State was considered one of the best teams in the country. They were in the semifinals of the college football playoffs last season. 3 losses, and he loses his job at Penn State. Now, it's being reported. I'm not the reporter reporting this. I'm reporting what another reporter reported.
You're just the middleman.
That it was actually Adidas who wanted Franklin fired. Adidas is essentially paying for Penn State's football program starting next year, and reportedly they're paying the $47 million to make Franklin go away because they want a name coach when their name is hanging on.
Well,
the stadium.
I felt for a while that James Franklin was a name coach. I mean, we know
Yeah.
we know his record against top 10 teams was less than stellar. I think it was like
Not
4 and 21,
Yeah.
something like that. But I think the big turnaround was usually he's the guy. his team was the bully, beating up on all these bad teams. And now you look at him this year with 3 straight losses, starting with UCLA, who UCLA did a complete 180. Started from the worst team in the league, where everybody was saying, well, Nico made a terrible job, and now they're on the up and up, looking like, okay, what was going on before that we didn't see? Coaching change there. Now UCLA looks like a top dog, and I guess James Franklin and them were going on a downward trajectory. And I guess 3 losses in a year after going to the semifinals is enough to say, yeah, you're not.
Well, certainly 3 in a row. I mean, nobody's secure anymore. But the fact that Penn State adamantly denies that Adidas had anything to do with this, and Adidas adamantly denies they had anything to do with it, means they had everything to do with it. If you've been in sports for any length of time, you know a denial means they're guilty.
Yes.
Just like a vote of confidence means a coach is about to get fired.
Yeah.
As soon as a general manager goes, I have complete confidence in this coach, it means day after tomorrow, I'm firing this coach. That's how sports works.
Yes.
Speaking of which, Trent Dilfer was fired as the head coach of UAB.
How was he even hired?
Trent Dilfer was so bad as the head coach of UAB, I didn't know he was the head coach of UAB. And I've interviewed Trent Dilfer. By the way, here's a tip for you: if you're climbing the ladder of fame and you're doing like local radio interviews, if you say the host's name, you won't believe how much we'll kiss your ass.
Wow.
Because oh my God, he said my name. I love Trent Dilfer. And I completely lost track of him. I didn't realize he was the coach at UAB.
Now he's not.
No. Now, Bill Callahan, who, as the head coach of the Titans, was problematic. I mean, he managed to make the Titans the worst team in the NFL. The Titans are the team that make the Panthers and the Saints feel good about themselves.
Yes.
So he gets fired. His dad, who had been the O-line coach, quit. Well, yeah, of course he did.
Well, yeah.
Because that would have made a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, how's work?
How's the job
work?
with the Titans
Can you hand me those cranberries? By the way, you're dead to me.
Yeah. Darian and I were talking, well, mainly me. I was talking extensively about that because, I don't know if you remember, huge Titans fan right now. And I took people down memory lane of week 1, Broncos versus Titans, where Alec Manor makes a great catch by the sideline, gets his forearm down in bounds, and Brian Callahan sits there and says, no, that wasn't a catch. And then in the post game, everybody was asking him, hey, Brian, why didn't you challenge that play? Why didn't you challenge for that to be a catch? And he, in full confidence, said, one arm does not equal 2 feet. And Darian and I yesterday, we broke down the catch for the NFL rule of exactly what it states. It states make a catch and 2 feet and or any other body part outside of the hands equals 2 feet. And so he comes back and Brian Callahan's, well, my interpretation of the rule was wrong, and we, in hindsight, should have challenged that play. Well, no, duh.
Yeah.
So
you remember Madden's book, one knee equals 2 feet.
Yeah.
Speaking of spiraling programs, Dolphins quarterback Tua. He's been calling player only meetings, and the players aren't showing up to the meetings.
That's the issue of his interceptions.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. But the thing is, this is something he felt compelled to share with the media.
Yeah.
He told the media the players are either late or aren't coming to the players-only meetings that I'm calling.
Yeah.
So they're disrespecting him, and his solution is to rat them out in the media, which is not the way to get the respect of your teammates.
There was even a teammate that was asked the question about Tua's comments afterwards, and he said, I think when it comes to team matters within the team, it should stay within
the team. Yeah, if you're going to have a players-only meeting, you don't talk about it. That's the whole point of having a players-only meeting.
Exactly.
Is you don't talk about it outside of the meeting.
Yes.
Plus, and then what the weirdest part was, Tua just started saying to the reporters, well, should I make it mandatory?
Yeah, ask him.
And the press, they were looking at each other like, why is he asking us?
Like,
we asked the questions here, not you. Do your job.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to react well to that. The Cowboys are finally playing pretty good offense, but as you mentioned, terrible defense. They're ranked 30th or worst in every major category on defense.
It's bad.
And boy, oh boy. So Matt Eberflus wasn't just incapable of being a head coach. He's incapable of being a coordinator.
Yes.
So he's going to get fired. Bengals The Bengals-Steelers game on Thursday night is going to feature 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers and 40-year-old Joe Flacco. 81 years of quarterback.
Wasn't it Cam Hayward before Aaron Rodgers went on the air for his for a reporter conference or something where he said, two of the oldest quarterbacks in the league going after it.
The Icy Hot Bowl.
Yes, the Icy Hot Bowl.
Great line.
It's officially going to be coined that.
They the field is just wrecked at Heinz Field. Did you watching the Pittsburgh game? Their kicker slipped. The turf was just terrible.
Yeah. Well, I
which
saw
naturally they blamed on Pitt.
Right.
Yeah, it's Pitt's fault that they have a terrible field.
Of course.
Aaron
not the groundskeeping crew who's supposed to take care of this week afterwards.
I mean, it's an NFL stadium, for God's sake. It ought to be able to handle 7 college football games as well. So Aaron Rodgers, who should just shut up, said that Pitt should build themselves a football stadium. And stop playing at Acrisure. Stop playing at our because Pitt's got
first-year Steeler.
Pitt's got a couple $100 million laying around to build their own stadium.
Well, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers, if he really wants it to be done, could donate a little bit of money to get that progress started over for Pitt.
Historically, Aaron is so very generous. He's a man of the people.
I wouldn't say he's a Shohei, but he could be up there. He could be up there if he wanted to be.
You probably saw this. I loved this story yesterday. The Boston sports media were supposed to play one another in a basketball game.
I did not catch.
But when they showed up, the head coach of the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, said, "You're not playing each other. You're playing the coaches." So the coaching staff of the Celtics played the Boston media. It was a squeaker, Landon. The final was 57-4.
Wow.
That's the way to endear yourself to the local media.
That's Harlem.
Our season's about to start. Our season's about to start. We're going to beat your brains in. Please cover us fairly for the next 8 months.
Dennis and Landon, I saw the video of Joe Mazzulla making his little walk-off shot. I mean, he was walking like he was the biggest stuff in Boston.
It was cold. It was seriously cold.
Well, I mean, when you have a dominant victory like that under your belt, might as well walk around like you're the king of the place.
I just think for this entire season, the media is just going to be looking at him going, we're not going to forget that happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see at the post game.
But you got to think that it was some level of sweet revenge from all the times that reporters asked him questions that they didn't want to talk about.
Well, the Boston media is a nightmare. Yeah,
it is. So maybe it was some kind of measure of revenge, but maybe not the time nor place for it.
No, I don't think it was. John Calipari said he would retire. Before he would become transactional, meaning, as he said, "I'll pay you this if you do this." Mm-hmm. John Calipari was doing that a decade and a half before NIL came into existence. Oh. The last season he was here with Tyreek Evans after the games, I felt like I needed a shower. I mean, his relationship with Tyreek Evans was, if it was anything, it was transactional.
Yeah, and I think with today's day and age of the transfer portal and anything like that, he is all of a sudden saying, "I want to be a changed man, and I want to form these relationships with these players and be transformative."
I want to help. I want to help 25 or 30 more families before I'm done.
And what an oddly specific number before he wants to.
Yeah, very, very
before
specific.
He wants to pack it up.
Yeah, as in, let's see, that would be another season.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, the NHL has started. I never talk about hockey. I never talk about soccer.
We rarely do.
Because I'm a lot older than you. And when I was growing up.
You're not a day over 30.
I just turned 62. And when I was growing up, nobody in the South played hockey. Mm-hmm. So I never paid any attention to hockey. And soccer was only played by rich kids who went to private schools. So we hated their guts.
Sounds fair.
When I was a kid, you were more likely to see people playing pool or bowling on television than you were to see hockey or soccer. So I just never developed fandom for it. But I'll keep right here to give you all the news about coaches getting fired.
Yeah, well,
there's a banner week for it.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that going on around the league. Brian Callahan, he needed to go, and I think the timing surrounding that was very important because of who's coming into town this week. the former one, I would say, if not the best, the second best coach in Titans history, in Mike Vrabel. And I think for look appearances purposes of saying, well, we don't want our Brian Callahan, who replaced him, to get smeared all over Nissan Stadium, but it's going to happen one way or another.
Yeah, it's still going to be an "I told you so" game.
It will.
But
It
but at least
will.
Callahan's not going to be the one on the losing end of it.
Yeah, we're gonna pin it all on Mike McCoy, who just had a great stint. I believe who was it that he coached for? There's the Chargers back in the day. Not back in the day. It wasn't that long ago, but he didn't have a great tenure with them as well. But
I love that the Chargers have a kicker named Dicker.
Isn't that great?
It's a perfect kicker name.
Who is
their kicker Dicker?
Who is the team that their kicker is Trey Smack?
Oh,
it's a college team.
Yeah, I don't know.
I cannot remember who it is. Darian, I'm sure you're hard at work. Your fingers are typing away on the
Florida
Google
Gators.
machine. I knew it. Okay, I was gonna say it was the Florida Gators. Trey Smack. What a great name. There's a lot of great last names out there. I was telling Darian about this with, who was it? The USF team? No. Somebody has a wide receiver out there. Yes, it was USF. Their wide receiver's name is Christian Neptune.
Yeah, who's hanging it up, right? No, it's a different Christian Report. What, I think that's his name. I actually thought about doing a thing about great names in sports because God, Shamgod, and Scientific Maps. And it was, there historically incredible names.
There's so many.
Harry Cullen.
Yeah.
Played for the Buccaneers.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good, mate.
On that note,
yeah. Well, we'll keep that in our back pocket for the next time, because I'm sure there will be a next time for Landon.
I'll be looking forward
Dennis
to it.
on Landon. It'll be a good time in the future. But that is our friend Dennis, always here to talk about all the big things that are going on in the world of sports. We appreciate him very much, Dennis. Thank you so much for talking with us today. As we catch a break on the other side, we're going to be talking the business of sports with our friend Joe Dank, looking at all the TV ratings and talking a lot about the NBA as it is right around the corner. Preseason is here, and we're going to talk about where you can be catching NBA games on your TV and on a lot of different platforms now due to this new deal. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Wolo and Friends.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If the question is, where should we all go after work? The answer is always Bell Tavern. Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar, not only has the perfect relaxed atmosphere you want in a bar, it also has an outstanding happy hour with $2.50 domestics, $3.50 imports, $3 well drinks, and $3 house wines, and $1 off of virtually everything else. Those are great prices at a great bar in a great location. So not only are we talking about everybody's favorite hang with ice cold beers, signature cocktails, and the friendliest staff in town, we're also talking about great happy hour prices.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like, if you're looking for a vintage band t-shirt, the one you wore everywhere until you lost it, now you're on eBay, and there it is. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. From rare collectibles and vintage cars to designer fashion, it's all there. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
Life's too short to blend in, so embrace your extraordinary style today at Sissy's Log Cabin. From everyday pieces to statement jewelry, you'll find something here for every occasion. Celebrate with exquisite quality. brilliant natural diamonds, and unmatched service you'll only find at Sissy's when you stop by any of our 7 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. You deserve the style of your dreams, and you'll find it at Sissy's Log Cabin.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back into Wolo and Friends as I am sitting here in the Family Leisure Studio. Yesterday, Darian and I gave you a little bit of a trivia, or not really trivia. We played a little bit of The Price is Right. And knowing that Family Leisure is having an incredible spa sale going on right now. And we determined that if you want to go to these other places and you want to get a standard spa, one that's maybe not, doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you would want to include, that you're looking around the $7,500 to $8,000 range, but spa sales right now with Family Leisure are starting at under $3,000. You talk about the incredible savings you got there. That is incredible. Spa and swim sales are up to 30% off right now. Floor model specials as well. Cold plunges. Everybody's on that health kick right now, and cold plunges can help with that tremendously, starting at just under $5,000. And also, Dave always mentions this, and it is so very true. You know those big patio umbrellas, the one that provides you with all the great shade that you need? I know we're getting into the months where weather's starting to get cooler, but you can never get enough of shade, right? The sun's usually always shining, and you gotta protect yourself from that. Free umbrellas with every purchase of all of these things. Swimming pools, clearance pricing through the end of October. Get in on these deals now, because after October, these prices are going to go back up. Special financing is available at Family Leisure, which is on 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. But right now, to talk the business of sports is our friend Joe Dank. Joe, coming up on this Tuesday, the NBA's new TV deal gets started, and a major contributor to that deal is going to be NBC and Peacock. Before this deal, almost all of the NBA games were on ESPN, with the occasional sighting that you could find on TNT. But now with this deal, we'll be able to see these games across all different kinds of platforms. And Joe, we're bringing you in to tell us all about these deals, where we can watch these games, and more about this deal. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be with you. Look, I think this will be a different experience, and it's pretty exciting. As we've talked in the past, this is a brand new 11-year, $77 billion TV rights deal for the NBA. So what starts next Tuesday is only going to last for the next 11 years. So get ready. Here we go. But I think the most interesting and anticipated thing is what NBC is coming out of the gates and doing. First of all, it's going to bring a lot of regular season games to weeknight primetime, and there is going to be a Tuesday night primetime game starting next Tuesday, actually with a doubleheader next week. Houston plays the defending champs, OKC. That's at 6:30, and Golden State and the Lakers follow at 9. But what this means is the local NBC stations here, WMC TV, Channel 5, will have live NBA basketball on Tuesday night in primetime. And so I do think that is interesting. The other element is there'll be primetime network TV basketball following the football season because, again, as we've discussed previously, NBC is going to go right from Sunday night football into Sunday night basketball. But you did in the lead-up mention Peacock, and Peacock has come up with what I think is going to, at the very least, be an interesting innovation on their Monday night games. And they will have games on 23 Monday nights, and that begins a week following. So 2 weeks, a week from Monday will be the first Peacock game. And they're going to call it On the Bench. This is a production innovation that they're doing. Noah Eagle will be the play-by-play announcer, but there will be 2 game analysts, Robbie Hummel and Austin Rivers. And each of them will be sitting on one of the 2 teams' benches among the assistant coaches, and will have full access to everything that's going on among the coaching staff during the game. They'll be in the huddles during the timeouts. And they'll also be embedded with the team earlier in the day. They'll attend the morning shoot-around. They'll be with the team during the pregame. So now all of a sudden, Eagle is doing the game from the traditional announcer standpoint, but he will throw to either one of these guys who are embedded on the team bench, and they'll be able to provide some different kinds of things from an insight standpoint. So a neat new wrinkle, these are coming up on the Peacock games during their Monday night NBA basketball games. That's not the only new player to the NBA this year. Prime Video also is new to the dance. They come in with 67 games.
Wow.
And that will include Friday night doubleheaders until the football season's over. Then those doubleheaders go to the Thursday night place because, as we know, the NFL is on Prime on Thursday nights now.
Yeah.
But when the NFL season is over, the NBA will have Thursday night doubleheaders on Prime. They'll also have some some Saturday afternoon games on Prime. Noah Eagle's father, Ian Eagle, will be one of the key play-by-play guys on Prime, as will Kevin Harlan. And you'll recall both of those guys did games on TNT in the past.
Yeah.
And some of the analysts, Stan Van Gundy and Jimmy Jackson, will move over to Prime as well. They'll be joined by Del Curry, Steph's dad, Brent Barry. Those guys will be analysts. But here's the interesting part about the Prime Video deal, and these are some features that are going to be happening. As you know, it's a tech-oriented company. This is a streaming service.
Yep.
And a couple of things you'll be able to do when watching a game on Prime is, first of all, you'll be able to link your Prime Video account to your FanDuel account.
Oh, wow.
You'll be able to, as a result, track the progress of your bets on screen during the game. So you might be watching one game on Prime, and you might be active on another game going out on somewhere. That link will show you instant updates of what's going on in that game. Interesting.
Yeah,
the other thing you'll be able to do is you'll be able to customize a multi-view, provided that you are also a subscriber to NBA League Pass. So you can be watching the Prime game, but you can go to a multi-view up to 4 games on a single screen with League Pass. Some fans who subscribe to the NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube right now are familiar with the customizable multi-view, and it's really a pretty interesting thing. There'll also be advanced in-game stats available with a push of a button on your remote to pop up during the game while you're watching NBA on Prime Video. And then, of course, maybe the least surprising, but again, very interesting, you can shop the game. You might remember during the Black Friday game on Prime last year, you were able to interact and purchase goods. Well, you can interactive shop while watching the game by hitting a tab and buying merchandise associated with the teams playing in NBA games. So, just an interesting, amazing advancement on Prime Video. Now, there is one holdover from the previous deal, and that is ESPN and ABC. They're going to be doing the NBA for the 24th straight season. ABC will remain the exclusive home of the NBA Finals for the next 11 years. Now, there was a change this year. This was kind of a big deal. Tim Legler is joining Mike Breen and Richard Jefferson as the main team. Doris Burke has moved to a lesser role, and she's going to work games with Dave Pash this year. ESPN in this deal is paying more and having less games, actually. They'll have Wednesday doubleheaders during the season, but they give up the Friday doubleheaders that they had in the past. They come back on ABC after football with Saturday night games, and they'll also have some Sunday afternoon games on ABC, but none of that starts until February. One additional thing that's interesting on ESPN this year, on Thanksgiving Eve, so that's the Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, they're doing a triple header on ESPN. And then, of course, ESPN and ABC simulcast the 5 games on Christmas Day, starting at 11 in the morning and going till 11 at night. And so there are 5 games that day, not the least of which, the Lakers will play Houston in the primetime window. Cleveland plays New York starting off the day at 11:08. Finally on NBA, and I know it's a lot, but it's interesting, and it starts
this is
next
really good
Tuesday.
stuff.
Inside the NBA. We all love the show. This is the Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny, along with Ernie from the TNT days. As we know, it has moved to ESPN, and it was never completely clear how it would be carried on ESPN. And so finally, they've recently announced the schedule. And the show will debut next week on both Wednesday and Thursday nights. ESPN is carrying double headers to kick off their coverage of the season on Wednesday and Thursday next week. And Inside the NBA will run on ESPN for 1 hour prior to each night's games, and then we'll run in a post-game mode after each of those games. So that's everything. Old is new again. Chuck and the gang are just on a different network. But they'll only be on 2 more times until Christmas Day, and there's just a sporadic one later in October, one in November. Then they'll be on all day on Christmas Day. Then we don't see them from Christmas Day until January 31st when they return on a Saturday night ABC game. Rest assured, once the playoffs and the finals start, we'll see Inside the NBA in front of all of those games and after those games. But a lot of people, this was maybe the only time in the history of TV sports where people would actually turn in for the studio show and sometimes turn away once the game started. That's how popular that show was.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Joe, really, really good stuff about this NBA deal. Exciting times coming ahead. Starting up this Tuesday, you can start to watch all of these games on all those different platforms. Really good information. It's got me excited about the NBA season, and because I have a lot of those platforms, so to be able to watch that many games is going to be really exciting. Sticking kind of in the basketball realm, I know the WNBA finals just got their wrap up not too long ago with, I believe, the Las Vegas Aces. Took that game all the way to the finals. The ratings are in for the viewership for that, and I gotta say, I've looked at these numbers just a little bit, but I'm sure you're gonna give us more of the details of what the WNBA finals were, but they looked really, really good this year. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, they continue to be strong. There's a good growth story with the WNBA. Now, it was a 4-game sweep. Las Vegas defeated Phoenix in 4 games. The last game was on Friday night. They averaged 1.5 million viewers this year. Now, that's just slightly off from last year. Last year averaged 1.6, but they got the extra game. They had 5 games last year. And as you know, usually the later the series goes, the higher the ratings go. This one was flip-flopped a little bit. Game 1 of the finals did 1.9 million viewers, so really came close to that 2 million mark. And then Game 4 fell off to 1.4 million. There was some pretty good competition on Friday night. So the total was 1.5 million for that series. That's the second best delivery since 2000. So the WNBA continues to benefit. Now, some of us like to refer always to the Caitlin Clark effect. And you'll remember, Caitlin Clark played very few games this year, but the games she did play in all drew over 2 million viewers. So not even the finals can equal a regular season Caitlin Clark game. And that's just interesting. In full, the WNBA playoffs this year, all games, all rounds, averaged 1.2 million fans. That was up 5%. Up 5% over last year. So the concept of the Clark effect helping everybody is in place because though her games outrate these games are much higher than they were before she got into the league.
Absolutely, and it's always good to see the ratings boosting up because, I mean, sports is a great outlet for a lot of people, and to see that for the WNBA, it's got to be really, really good, but those numbers are absolutely great. One last thing for you, Joe, before we have to let you go, is the MLB postseason is in full swing right now. It's red hot. Both of these series are playing very, very good right now. I know you got a lot of numbers for us in, I believe it was the Toronto and Seattle and Milwaukee against the Dodgers. What can you tell us about the numbers for the postseason?
Well, so interesting enough, let's go back to the division series for 1 minute. Last Friday night, 15-inning marathon, Tides Mariners. Just under 9 million fans watched that game. It was a great baseball game. It was what only baseball can be, 15 innings. It was fantastic. 8.5 million viewers. That's up 17% over last year's Dodgers-Padres Game 5. And so that was the largest audience for any division series game since Game 5 of the Tigers-Yankees in 2011. So now think about the amazing thing about this is the Tigers and the Mariners blew away a game last year that featured the Dodgers and blew away a game from 2011 that featured the Yankees. That's how good that game was.
Yeah.
Overall, the LDS came in. The Cubs and the Brewers, played a Game 5 on Saturday night. That averaged 5.5 million fans. That was up 57% from last year's Game 5 on that network. So the good news is the baseball ratings are good. The full American League Division Series on Fox was up 37% from last year. And the NLDS on TBS averaged 4 million fans, and that was basically a push with last year. The baseball postseason is doing extraordinarily well through these 2 rounds so far, averaging 4.3 million viewers per game, and it's up 30% over last year. So baseball's healthy on TV. The Dodgers look like they're in good order. That's going to help drive ratings in a World Series. And one thing that has hurt this, the ALCS ratings right now is Toronto is playing. And so when Toronto's in, the ratings from Toronto don't count in the American TV ratings. So you give up something there.
Yeah, very
but
true.
It's starting to look like an all West Coast. Dodgers, Seattle, both teams head home with 2-0 leads.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Joe. It looks like sports all across all platforms is on the up and up right now. A lot of consumer-ready people, and all the numbers are up, which is just really good to hear. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Dave will be back with you next week, and you'll speak with him then. But as for right now, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That is our friend Joe Dank. He talks the business of sports with us. We got to take a quick time out. But when we return, we will be talking with Tim Doolin. MLB, we've been talking about a lot today. We just finished talking about it with Joe. Talked about it to open this segment. The postseason looks really, really good. We're going to get Tim's thoughts on all of these things. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 98.5 FM, Real Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere. It's Wolo and Friends.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. MariasCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Take me to the pilot of your soul. Take me to
Welcome back into Wolo and Friends as we are going to wrap up our segment today talking with Tim Doolin of the Doolin Dodgers, and the MLB postseason is in full swing right now. Both of these series are leaning towards heavy favorites, with the Mariners, who are up 2-0, and the Dodgers, who took care of business last night, who are up 2-0 as well. Tim, what have you made of these matchups so far, and could you possibly see both of these games ending in a clean sweepstakes?
Well, I think you could. I don't think that I do think that the Brewers are going to win one game, although the way that the starting pitching's gone so far for the Dodgers and being able to save their bullpen and basically getting a complete game last night, and then the other night, Snell easily could have gone a complete game in my opinion, but they were able to pull it out with bringing in Sasaki and also with Tran. But yeah, it's an interesting series. I don't know that it's going to play out and be a great viewership World Series if the Mariners and Dodgers win it, but for TV. But I think it's going to be a great series. Seattle's playing great right now. I don't think that it's shocking that the Blue Jays scored that many runs against the Yankees, and then all of a sudden they just kind of left the bats in the bat rack.
And speaking of Sasaki, the Dodgers originally brought him in to be a starter, but now they're using him out of the bullpen in the postseason after he's dealt with some injuries in his time in AAA. What have you thought about Sasaki being in the pen?
Well, I think this guy's got he's really got several pitches, but his bread and butter is a split finger fastball, and obviously his fastball rushes up there in the upper 90s. So it plays because he does throw a lot of strikes. The other night people say he didn't really have a good outing. Well, it wasn't that bad, and he intentionally walked a left-hander that had hit a home run earlier in the series. And so I think he's still their guy. And if they can get to the 8th or 9th inning, they're going to give him the ball. And then next year, who knows? They might put him back as a starting pitcher. The one thing the Dodgers did in the money that they had, they went out and overstocked arms. Because, with today's culture and how the analytics are doing it, they just want guys to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can. If they blow out, next man up, they go get Tommy John. Guy comes back a year later. So, kudos to the Dodgers going out and getting Snell, obviously paying him, and then they were able, because they had so much depth in their pitching rotation and staff, when he kind of had some tenderness early on in the year, this guy's getting paid a lot of money. I think he's only had like 12 or 13 starts the whole year, and you're seeing the benefits of them being able to, baby him along and get him really healthy, and he's lights out right now. He's unhittable.
Speaking staying on the topic of pitching right now, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts told the world before Game 2 that he already has the pitching lineup determined for Game 3 and 4 for the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, with a 3.19 ERA in the regular season, will pitch in Game 3 after seeing Blake Snell go 8 innings and after seeing Yamamoto go 9 innings. What are the expectations for Tyler for this game? Does it have to go to extra innings for him to just one up and continue on the pattern? What do you make of that?
His last outing was really good, and I think he probably went 6 or 7 his last outing. I think if they can get 6 from him and be in good shape, I think they'll be really ecstatic about it.
I think so too. And on Game 4, we have a returner in Shohei Ohtani pitching. What do you make of this decision to have Shohei pitching Game 4?
I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, you got to go try to win it, and then obviously if you do, then you can turn him back over a lot quicker. But again, just like I said about Snell, they've been able to kind of ease Ohtani along and increase his innings and his pitch counts as the season's gone on, and now he's given them 6+ innings, and I don't think that you're going to see anything other than that. The key for the Dodgers, and they've been able to do it, is stay in games until they can get to the opposing team's bullpen, and it's worked out. And they got timely hitting when they needed it, and that's why they're up 2-0.
On the other side of these games tomorrow for the Blue Jays, going back to Seattle for Game 3 in this series, the probable pitchers are going to be Shane Beamer, who in the regular season had 3.57 ERA, and the Blue Jays are going to bring up George Kirby for Seattle. What do you expect to see from this matchup?
I think for some reason, I think the Blue Jays are going to come out of it and get this game, get this series back in manageable position to where they've got a chance to do something. They can't afford to go down 3-0. There's no shot for them to win the series if they go down 3-0. So I think I'd be shocked if the Blue Jays don't win this game.
Yeah, and real quickly, just looking outside of what's going on in the postseason right now, because the majority of the teams are really getting set for the offseason. Sources are saying that Alex Bergman for the Red Sox is planning to opt out of his contract. What do you make of this news?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I think he basically signed the deal just to prove that he's healthy, prove that he can still be a dominant and productive third baseman offensively. He did that in Boston. And now he's sitting on the sidelines, and he's going to have. I think he'll have probably 4 or 5 options to the clubs out there will want his services.
And in other offseason news, for one team that I believe needs big changes, and the reason I say I believe is because they're my New York Mets, one of the best, supposedly supposed to be one of the best teams that money can buy, as they spend almost the most money on their roster this year. Sources are saying that Mets are naming new hitting and bench coaches, and Kai Correa, who's going to be who's stated to be Carlos Mendoza's new right-hand man, and Jeff Albert as the new hitting coach. What are your thoughts on Mets making these moves?
Well, I don't think that. I mean, anytime you in today's world, naming a new hitting coach or firing coaches and hiring a new guy, even managers now, most managers are handed the lineup by the front office, so they manage the game a little bit, but nothing like it used to be. I think the Mets' number one priority is to get Alonso done. There's not another big power hitting first baseman that can produce and deal with the media and deal with the pressure of playing in New York like Alonso. They got to get him done. And so that would be my number one priority. I'm not really worried about who's sitting on the bench and helping coach.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly where I was going to take you to. The next question is, I know Pete Alonso, after the Mets came up short against the Marlins, which the Marlins for some reason just have the Mets number, making them miss the postseason yet again. Pete Alonso said that he's likely going to be exploring options, but that he would still love to play for the Mets. What is it that the Mets have to do to get this job done? I've seen a lot of people going out there saying just hand him a blank check, pay him whatever you need to pay him, but to keep Alonso. So what do the Mets have to do?
Well, I think they've got to be they've got plenty of money, right? Steve Cohen's got tons of money.
Yes, he does.
And I don't think he's going to get outbid. It's got to be a fair deal. And I think if it comes down to it, I think Pete would rather stay in New York as long as he's getting paid fairly. So it's going to be he's going to try to get as long of a deal as he can, although he's up there in age, but a high AHV. So, and I think he's going to get it.
Yeah, well, for me as a Mets fan, my hope is that he certainly does get it, especially since he set the career home run records for the Mets this past year. It would be a shame to let him go at a time like this.
Well, and another thing, too, is you can't, you went out and spent all that money on Soto and you overpaid him. If you don't get Alonso to help, hit before him or after him, then you're devaluing Soto, and he's going to struggle. So that's not going to be good.
Yeah,
and they both have the same agent, so I think they're going to get a deal done.
Yeah, that is very true and a very good point. Last thing for you, Tim, before we officially run out of time, what is your prediction for the World Series, and do you have a winner?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to play against the Mariners. I think they'll win it in 6.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be another good series for the Dodgers.
Well, let's we'll keep our eyes focused on the games. We'll see if your prediction comes true. It's shaping out to be that way right now, so maybe it will be that way. Tim, it's been so good talking with you today, my friend. Dave will be back with you next week, but it's been a joy, and you have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is our friend Tim Doolin. We are out of time, pulling a classic John Harden. Even though John Harden is not here, we still go over time here.
He raised you the right way.
He certainly did. He showed me the ropes. Maybe not the best of ropes, but they are ropes nonetheless. But you can stick around with us because you've got me, you've got Darren, you've got J-Ham. Recess Radio is officially making its return back on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Don't go anywhere. And as always, my friends, it's going to be a good day.